The only way to manipulate these screws out is to put a wedge or some type of groove in them and then use a flathead screwdriver and just unscrew them. But I didn't have a Dremel tool to work it, but what I did have was a hacksaw. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views, and today is Firearms Friday, and today we're gonna be talking about amateur gunsmithing. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see videos just talking about guns and such. If you'd like to see some firearms footage, right now we're quite limited, but we will be making trips to the range to do some more shooting in the future. So subscribe if you'd like to see those things, as well as if you like movies, you like entertainment news, you like talking about the things that's going on in the world of TV and movies. Again, subscribe, come along for the ride, enjoy the content that we put out. Once upon a time, we had our Mossberg 590 Shockwave decked out just like this. We had an SB tactical brace, stabilizing brace on the back end. We had a Monstrum tactical rail on the top. We had a primary arms red dot sitting on top of that. We had taken the front strap off, and we wanted to function the gun just like that. And we did that, for a few rounds. And I said, you know what? After doing drills in the house with both of my shotguns, the 500 as well as the 590 Shockwave, I felt like the 500 was faster with just the excess big dot on top. And I said, let me take the steps to take this red dot off, put it in a box. I don't like it on the AR, I don't like it on the AK. I've come to the conclusion that I don't like red dots. But that's fine. Let's fix the shotgun in a way where we can just slap on a big dot on the top and roll with it like that. Lo and behold, I run into some serious problems. Monstrum shipped this rail with an Allen key screws that go along the top. So you have 4 screws. First 2 screws I attempted to take out came out fine. Mind you, there was no Loctite used or anything like that. This was just screws that were screwed into the top, holding that rail to the receiver. First 2 screws come out fine. The next 2 screws appear to be warping to the point where none of my Allen keys, and I have several different Allen keys, were fitting in and actually turning the screws. I got to a point of frustration where I was like, yo, I really feel like I can't do this myself. I'm probably gonna have to bring my gun to a gunsmith. Now, I hate the thought of actually having to take a weapon that is very functional, I enjoy maneuvering and working with a whole lot, practicing drills with. I hate the idea of taking that and sending it off to somebody and just waiting for it to return. I don't like it at all. So I say, let me try to take matters into my own hands and see what I can do on my own. Looking at the rail from the top, I knew the only way to manipulate these screws out is to put a wedge or some type of groove in them and then use a flathead screwdriver and just unscrew them. But I didn't have a Dremel tool to work it, but what I did have was a hacksaw. So I indeed put the gun wrapped up in a t-shirt in a vise to try to, cover the debris that would come from sawing. I whipped out a hacksaw and I slid that hacksaw back and forth right down the center groove of that Monstrum tactical rail, because I figured, hey, if I'm not using it, let's just dispose of it and restore the gun to its original condition. So I'm sliding back and forth, constantly blowing off the little sawdust that comes along with digging that groove, until I get to the point where I have these nice grooves, nice huge grooves in these normally hexagonal Allen key type screws. And then the rail came off with no problem. Unfortunately, the rail is, again, I don't think that is structurally sound enough to put on anything, and that's about $9.99. That's out the window, but this is $9.99. I was very confident that this method would work, and in hindsight it made me think, yo, I probably could have just turned the hacksaw sideways and went back and forth sideways and dug a groove into it that way. But this method was also effective and it worked no problem. It took me less than 30 minutes carefully passing that blade right down the center, unscrewing it, and getting my gun back in working order. But through all that, you can see from the pictures that I'm rolling in here, there's quite a bit of debris on the gun, all on the internals, like this sawdust, well, metal. These metal shavings were all over the place. They were in the barrel. They were on the bolt that slides back and forth. They were inside the trigger action, even all over the action slide bars, on the back piece of the barrel. Even when you look inside the buffer tube, if you look real close, you can see little silver specks of metal shavings that were taken off of the gun. So I basically had to disassemble the gun into all the pieces that you can take off. Only thing inside the gun was the extractor, and I had to give that thing a deep clean. And while having it in that position, I came to the conclusion that, hey, let's continue to make this gun your own. Let's go ahead and paint this thing. So I've decided to go with Alumihide OD green. We're gonna do the receiver and the barrel in OD green. We're gonna leave the cap black, and we're gonna leave the SB tactical brace and the pump black until we get that replaced with a streamlight. I think I'm going with a streamlight. The racker, I think I'm going with that. Probably gonna roll in some videos sooner or later showing you how to get the metal situated, like sanding a little bit of the finish off, sandblasting everything clean, hitting it with that brake cleaner, and then hitting it with the Alumihide. I believe I'm gonna do 2 coats, and because I don't have access to an oven, I'll probably do the long 7-day, 10-day cure in between the coats. Just use it all, one rip, you know, and that way we'll be ready for the humidity and everything. I also ordered a yellow, I think either yellow or the orange big dot with the tritium center. So we'll be good and ready to go and get out and put a whole bunch of rounds through that thing. The plan is to get out and really pattern it at distance. I have a range in mind that's outdoors that'll let you shoot shotguns, but I do believe I have to build my own targets. And luckily, I have some cardboard and some wood, so hopefully these people are cool with me getting out there and putting some rounds down range, and hopefully bringing you some good Firearms Friday content in the future. So that's all I have for this video. Never hesitate to work on your own stuff. Always take steps to fix problems yourselves, because you can do things that you don't know that you can do, and you'll never know until you try. So that's my advice from today. That's the talk for the day. Be rolling in some shorts with some pistol footage, so if you want to see Firearms Friday with some shooting, go ahead and check that stuff out. Look at some of the other videos talking about finishing weapons, cleaning weapons, philosophies and stuff like that. And that's all I have for today. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and please come back, check out more videos.